Right, so we're on a TSM for a decent profit, $1.03 a contract. So about roughly $1 a contract. I'll take that this just a quick intraday trade today. Again, watching our other positions. UNH this morning up about $4.50 now, back up into the gap again. I still like this UNH. Still like this UNH. We got 330 calls on it, $15. It's trading at 341 right now, 341. And these things go out to October 3rd. So a couple weeks on these. I don't know what they're actually going at right now. Let's see. UNH. Yeah, they're going for 15.45 right now. 15.45. So about $45 a contract on those things. I have that debit spread on it as well. I paid $1.07 for it. They're going for $1.20 right now. UNH. GNRC trying to get back above the 50 right now. It's back right up to the 8, right up to it's up about 45 cents this morning. VSAT up about $1.25% now, back right up to the 8.50. Got to get through that 8.50, and again 30.50 is what I'm looking at for VSAT to get through. 30.50. Halo trading at about 9.15 right now. Not that much. Let's pull back a little bit. So SPY flattening out pretty good here now. Market, you can see the momentum of the SPYs coming in, uh, moving kind of sideways. The market internals are still kind of chopping their way higher, moving up a little bit. Rem, come on, I appreciate that. I really do. I really do. Rem Kumar says, he knows I can't say it, but I want to tell you, YouTube subscribers, that my trading is on a different planet, and get the subscription ASAP. Appreciate that, Ram Kumar. Appreciate that. Yeah, you're doing very well trading this. You picked up this methodology beautifully, and just knocking out profits in it, and that's the name of the game. I mean, that's you're doing an excellent, become an excellent trader. I don't know how good you were before you here, but I know you're an excellent trader right now, so I appreciate that. APF 1950. Why do I start so late now in the YouTube? The right line has got another feed going till 11:30 on the AI Auto Trader. So I take the 11:30 slot. Shai, you second what Ram Kumar says? Never been trading with anyone so calm and collected at every point. Appreciate that, Shai. Listen, it's been my experience that getting emotionally upset in trades is counterproductive. Staying calm. Listen, we had a losing trade. VSAT was a crappy trade, and you're going to have some crappy trades, but that's part of trading. It's important to understand that you're going to have. Last September was a losing month for me, first one in 3 years or something, and this month could be a losing month. I don't know. We're still green on it, but depends on what these positions do. But the point is, you're following a methodology that I know has an 85 to 90% win rate. So yeah, you're going to have variations. Obviously, you have variations. You're going to have some losers in there. But the point is, each trade I take, I have an 85 to 90% likelihood of winning. Doesn't mean they're all going to win, but the majority of them will, and you make money consistently over time. And the whole point is to stay calm and not get upset about a couple of losses. When somebody joins the room and then they have 2 or 3 losses in a row, naturally they're going to be discouraged because they haven't seen the track record before that. They see what I've told them, but that doesn't mean they don't know whether I'm telling them the truth or not telling them the truth. I try to be very, very transparent on these trades that we take. Trading is difficult. Trading is not an easy way to make a living. But if you know what you're doing, and you can become methodical and disciplined in your trading, you can make a living doing this. Obviously, I've been doing it for a long time, and I know a lot of other retail traders have as well. But it's not easy. The market is very, very difficult, and I think the criteria that we've got with the SPY Super System and the methodology we set up is excellent. Some days are good for day trading. Some days are good for swing trading. Market's been tough for swing trading, but we've done pretty well. So that's all I'll say about it. It's not. If anybody thinks they're just going to jump into trading and make a lot of money right off the bat as a new trader, it's not going to happen. But you can squeeze out some profits month after month after month. But you want to keep your risk defined. All our risks are defined. You want to keep your risk low. You don't want to ever blow up your account. Remember, if you don't have money in your account, you can't keep trading. So you can't take advantage of any of this stuff. Ram Kumar, you were fairly mediocre and barely positive. You say I've been beyond incredible. Listen, we had a great July. July was 30 wins, 3 losses. That's good. That's for me that's really an extraordinary month. 30-3, and a huge profit of almost $17,000 for $2,000 invested. But you're not going to get that every month. August was less, somewhere in the neighborhood of 4,000, but still that's pretty nice. I appreciate that, Ram. Come on, I really do appreciate it very much. Shai points out people also oversize and over leverage, try to make lots of money quickly and get wiped out in a few losses, and they do that more likely when they've had a couple of losses, and they'll try to catch up, or they've had a couple of wins and they get a big ego. Believe me, the thing that will knock your ego down to size is this market. Jacob joined in June and July, so got spoiled right from the start. Yeah, those were great months. But we've had lots and lots of good months. But if you go 30-3, you think that's normal. It's not. Roger, we went long SE, SE, C limited. Okay. That's an interesting setup on SE. Very interesting setup. There's SE right there. You notice that we went green here as it broke above the 15 EMA. So that's a decent super system setup on this. And the stock is bullish on the daily chart. Right, here's a daily chart right here. It's bullish right there. Hey Jeff, you work full time and travel a lot. Yeah, and that makes it tough. I know. You've been picking in the evening. You've been picking stocks off the D1 for swinging and enter them in journal at the closing price. I share the REDT recommendations. Cool. So when I close the position, is mostly at night. All right. It's my understanding you also work full time when you started. Absolutely. I worked full time for a long time when I started. Yeah. Any feedback or methods of insight from your experience when you traded and worked full time? It's pretty hard. You're doing pretty much what you have to do, Jeff. You can't really do a lot of intraday trading when you're working, unless you got a lunch hour and you take a quick SPY super system trade on a stock or the indexes. You can do that. If you can get some high probability trades, that you can do that. But you can't really take an intraday trade if you can't watch it, unless you do an OCO. If you put a trade in and you like it, and you just put a sell order in for the profit and a sell order in for your loss at your stop loss, you can do that. I hate using stop losses, but if you're intraday trading and you're working full time, that's really the only way to do that. Jarek, this room also changed your mentality in trading. Appreciate that. Thanks very much, Jarek. Yeah, that's the mentality. Trading mentality is a major problem for most traders. Scott, you wanted something not overextended on the daily. Well, SE is definitely not extended, and you're right. There's a lot of good-looking trades that are way extended right now. So with something like SE, you can stay in the trade. You don't really have to, as long as it holds the 8 and the 15, you can stay in this trade. UNH is kind of the same way. UNH is right on the 8. It's just above the 8. There's no worry about being overextended right now in those. Zach Lane, you're trying to get used to trading calendar spreads. With UEC, be a good stock to use one on. And when I do a calendar spread, I don't know if you're talking about time spreads. Let's see what UEC. Yeah, it's got earnings on 9/25, so it's got earnings this week. I don't know if it's going to be a good one for a calendar spread or for a time spread because I don't know what the criteria on it yet, which would be how many times does it beat. What's the difference between this week's IV and next week's IV? I probably can look at the IV right now and tell you what it is, but I'm not sure if you're talking about using it as just a regular calendar spread, which I don't really do, regular calendar spreads. I use calendar spreads and call them a time spread for doing a trade on earnings. I'm assuming you're talking about doing it on earnings since it has earnings this week. And so you wouldn't really want to do a calendar spread on it until it has earnings on the 25th. So you want to do it just before earnings. I'm not sure if it comes out in the morning or at night, but just before the earnings. Do I feel like IBM is overextended right in the gap at the money? It is in the gap pretty nicely. Do I think it's overextended? Well, I got a little calculator on my it tells me that's extended by 1.7 ATRs. That's tradable. That's still tradable on IBM. But you got to remember it is somewhat extended. And here's your daily chart on IBM right now. And here's your support here, 266.66, and then here's your 100-day moving average down here, simple moving, and here's your 8 down here. So this is the doji sandwich setup right here. It probably has a little more likelihood to move up a little bit today, based on the size of these candles. That went on Wednesday. Thursday was let's see, 250, about 257 to 265, about $8. Today we've gone 266. Oops, 266 to 271, $5. So you theoretically have about a $3 additional potential run on this based on a true doji sandwich setup, which this would be about the same size as this. But it's not overextended, but it's getting there. And right now the price action is pretty flat. Okay, I'm going to look to see if I can find another intraday trade here. I'm also going to look for some swing trades. Here's UNP. These would be potential swings coming off of this scan down here. But if I take UNP, it's right at the 200-day moving average right now. Intuit. Also right at resistance on Intuit. It's actually just filled the gap. Not much there. This stock is red for the day, moving up pretty nicely though. Shopify, red against resistance. TER, one of the members had a big gain in TER since last week, I think. Nice move up, big gap up on TER this morning. It's too extended now. Too extended. It's extended above the ATR, 2.39 ATRs, that's a lot. CCJ coming off a low here. United Health moving up nicely. Again up today, over $5 now. UNH Philly now trading at UNH trading at a little about 16.10 right now, about 16.10. So up about $1 on this UNH trade right now. Really like this UNH setup. We did make good money on this last week. It's a PBO. You notice how it did what's called a PBO. It's a pullback opportunity right here. Stock got extended. We took our profits in here beautifully as it moved up into the gap. Took profits as it got a little extended. Comes back down. Wait. Friday I took some calls on it right here as it broke above it. See how it got above there, but then it pulled back. But then today it's confirming back up through the right through the 80 and the 15 with a nice move to the upside here. And again, I have a 340, 342.50 call debit spread on it for this week as well as next week's calls. So we'll see where it goes. BSAT now up about 1% today. GNRC is now up about 0.5% today. So they're moving in the right direction. We just got to give them a little bit of time here. Again, we took TSM. I took profits in TSM. Got close to resistance. It's pretty much stuck right there. How much more upside is UNH based on the high volume lines? Let me look. Now, the first high volume line I've got on UNH that comes into play is 351. $10 from here, 351.71. Then the next one after that, after 351.71, is all the way up into the gap fill. 375. So here's your resistance levels right there. 371, 351.71, and then all the way up here to the gap fill, which is about 377. About 11, almost coming up on 12 o'clock here. Let's see if we have any questions in YouTube. You meant time spreads, yeah. If you mean time spreads, you want to wait until just before earnings on that. And I don't know if it will be or not. Let me take a quick look at it for UEC. Let me just see what the premiums are on it for this week and next week. It's trading around about 1280 right now. So this week's volatility is around 125. 125. Next week's is about 98. 25 from 125. No, it's not a big enough difference right now. It may be in a couple of days, but right now it's not. If you'd want to on 125 for next week, you'd like to have a difference of somewhere in the neighborhood of 60, maybe 55 to 60, and it's only 27, which isn't enough. So as of right now, I wouldn't say that it was going to be a good one. I don't know until earnings comes out, but until we get just before earnings when I can get all this criteria I need. Watching CRW VSAW after it bounced strongly from the 80 MA today. Want to see how it reacts to Friday's higher day, though. Yeah, CoreWeave, again, a very volatile stock. CoreWeave, a very volatile stock. This thing can be very. You can see how volatile. Big, huge move up here in May, in June, and then very choppy. And then we had this big flush down on earnings, and now it's tried to recover. But look at these gaps. Big gaps like this are really tough. Big gap comes down, it does a big hammer right here off the 8, comes up, but now it's just kind of moving sideways and trying to break out. If it breaks out above here, you're still going to have some resistance right up here on this top of this candle right there. Because if I go in and put a high volume line on there, I'm gonna find a few here. Because there's where it is right now, but you're going to have some resistance there. And you're going to have some resistance even higher than that up here. And there's probably some more over in here. They didn't have enough data to put anything in here for lines, but those are the ones that you should be concerned with, I think. 134.50 after it gets above Friday's high. TSM moving back up again. You're welcome, Zekline. Thank you very much. Appreciate you being in the YouTube feed. I always like to have folks here. Again, you can always go to rightlinetrading.com to join the room or the alert service or buy the software, which I highly recommend buying the software because this piece of software is really important for intraday trading and for swing trading. Very important.
Apple continuing to hit highs of the day. Up 4.5%.
Apple non-stop here, up 4.5%. Very extended, so you'd have to just do intraday trades on it right now, in my opinion. But it's moving up nicely. Tesla has had a nice run this morning. kind of losing a little bit of its steam here right now. Okay, gonna look for some trades. See if we have any more questions. Hey, Carlton. Was your weekend to get assigned? You were assigned on Cenex shares, CENX at 27. CENX. Century Aluminum. What I don't remember. Did you have a strangle on that or straddle? I don't remember. I think I traded that last week, but I'm out of. I was out of all of them. It's still a nice bullish stock, CENX. That's still a nice bullish stock. I mean, you're getting some profit taking today as it got moved up here. Again, it got a little bit away from the 8. Not a terrible distance, but these big volume buyers on Friday, most of these were related to triple witching. A lot of positions being adjusted by the institutions. But yeah, it's coming back down toward the 8. I think as long as it holds the 8, you're okay in it. It's pretty nice setup on this stock for a long, in my opinion. I don't think if I was assigned on it, I don't think I'd be getting out of it. Now, if you own shares of that, you know, on Centex, if you own shares in that, you can. Let me see. Do they have weekly options? I assume they do. No, they only have monthlies. Only monthlies. I was going to say, if weeklies, you could be selling some covered calls against your position to bring in premium. You could do that with the monthlies as well if you wanted to. I don't know what price you got assigned at, but the October 17th, say the 28s or 29s, the calls, for the 29 calls, I'm not sure what you got assigned at and what you paid for it, but you can do the 29 calls for October 17th. You can sell them for about $90, so you can collect about $90 premium on those, and as long as it stays below 29, you by October 17th you'd keep that money, and if it goes above 29, you'd get exercised, or you'd get assigned. Basically, the calls, the stock, your shares would be called away, but you would have collected about $90 a contract, $90 a share on those shares you've got on CENX. CENX.
Says Fed policy is very restrictive and poses risk to the Fed's employment mandate. More color on that in the news desk.
By trying to move sideways. Market internals trending down just a bit. Not much. Not much.
On NVDA, OpenAI and NVIDIA announced strategic partnership to deploy 10 gigawatts.
You know why you got to sign both of those? Well, I mean, I'm trying to remember Adobe. I closed the position out, I think. Although I don't remember. I think neither one of my puts or calls was in the money. Yours must have been in the money somehow. I don't remember the prices or the setups at all right now, so I can't remember. Sorry. Dave, what was my trade on Apple? I didn't trade Apple, Amazon. I'm saying it's bullish today, and I said if you trade it today, I would stick with intraday trades on it because it's too far extended on the daily. But it's had a beautiful move up here today, if you can see, very green, very strong, but very extended. So if you want to trade this, what you'd want to do is wait for a pullback to the VWAP or the 15. The VWAP's way down here, and then a bounce that's confirmed, and then trade it long. But I would get out of it before the day's over. $12.02. Okay, gotta look for some more potential intraday trades, and some swings perhaps. UNH up $5 today, trading at 341.72, back inside the gap. 351.71 is the next resistance level. If we get that high, we'll be taking profits in UNH, because it'll be going for probably over $20 a contract at that point if it gets that way, that far up. NVIDIA has a partnership now with OpenAI to deploy 10 gigawatts of NVIDIA systems. That's pretty big. That's pretty interesting news on NVIDIA. Again, we mentioned this one today. The stock has been trading absolutely horribly on NVIDIA, but it is moving up off this news. If you look at NVIDIA, you'll see the move here. And that's a significant piece of news, but I'm not going to chase it. I want it to pull back and then bounce. Again, I don't want to chase NVIDIA here, but I am interested in this news because this is it's fairly bullish. And if you look at it on the daily chart, not the 5-minute chart, look at the daily chart, you can see that it's trying desperately to hold the 8, the 15, and the 50 right here. You get all kinds of support levels in here. You know, after that news, I'm almost tempted to do a credit spread. What they would get, what I could get for them. I would. It's still moving higher though. Would like to see it pull back. Yeah, there's not enough premium for credit spreads in this. Pretty nice move in NVIDIA. Again, this is fairly significant news on NVIDIA. This is a pretty nice long. It's very hard to chase it up here. And I can't get enough premium on a credit spread to make it worthwhile. Again, this is a news-driven pop here on NVIDIA, and I wouldn't be surprised if it continues on up from here. It's hard to chase it, but this is a fairly newsy type event here right now. continues to grind up. Hard to recommend taking. I did take a couple of calls here, but expiring next week. But I'm going to get out of them pretty quickly if this continues to move. This is a news. This is a news event here. It's possible you could try to do a strangle on it, but I imagine the premiums are way too high to do that right now on a strangle on this thing. I actually took next week's 172.50s, and I only paid $7.85 for them, which is pretty low, since I had about $5 and somewhat cents of intrinsic value in there. But I'm just gonna shoot to take a buck on them. Again, I'm getting at 7.85 on these 172.50s. This is tough. I don't like to chase stocks, as you know, but this is a fairly, I think, a fairly significant news, and but I'm going to peel these things off. Anytime this thing starts to pull back, I'm going to be out. I get in at 7.85. I got a sell order at 8.85. They're trading at 8.50 right now. 8.50, 8.55, 8.60, 8.68. Again, any kind of a pullback, I'm going to change my sell order. But I've got it at 8.85 right now. $8.75. Okay, filled 8.85. Okay, so I'm out of that at 8.85. Again, I didn't want to chase it. I didn't want to chase it. Still moving up. Again, I peeled them off already. In 7.85, out 8.85 on those NVIDIA calls. All right, so I'm done with that one. Okay, so I'm out of I'm out of NVIDIA. These news pops. The news is fairly significant actually, and it's turning into a fairly decent setup on the daily chart. But as of right now, I'm out of it, and probably not going to jump on it again. So took profits in that. Took profits in TSM earlier today, which has gotten through that resistance level. 270.54, by the way. TSM also a nice move. All right, let's see what the market's doing. Yeah, I'm just doing quick trades here today. There's a SPY new all-time high. Again, TSM making a new all-time high and making a new high today, right through that resistance level. UNH is looking decent here today, up almost $5. VSAT making a move up as well a little bit, and GNRC also green up today. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, those calls were nice in NVIDIA. That was a nice one. TSM was also a nice one here. TSM, we could have got more, of course, but I get in at 847, out at 950. It's at 1107 right now. Big move in that. But you just can't, in this market, you just can't depend on that following through. Market's pulling back, moving up pretty strongly here right now. Market internals actually starting to pull down just a bit. NVIDIA is still ripping here. Again, that news is fairly significant, as I said. Okay. So TSM and NVIDIA, two nice intraday trades. Very difficult to post any of these. They're very, very quick. There's no way to get that posted. It's just moving too fast. TSM, I was just looking at a day trade on it, so again, I called it out. So people in the room can get it. I'm not sending any alerts out on these yet. I'm just gonna wait and see here. VST with long green candle, frustrating stock. You think VST? Yeah, we lost on that one. These V stocks have been deadly here. Yeah, big candle in VST, but pulling back all of a sudden. Again, can't get through that 212.88. Just can't. What's the basis behind a credit spread, if you don't mind me asking, Sarang? A credit spread basically is a methodology where you sell a put credit spread well below the current price and below a couple of support levels. In other words, a level you don't think it's going to get down to. You sell a put and then you buy a put at a lower strike price and you create a credit spread. You get paid premium for that, but you want to make sure you're going to get at least 25% profit, which means on a dollar spread you got to collect at least 20 cents. On a $5 spread you got to collect at least $1 of premium. But the construction of it is very critical. The put that you sell should be below at least two support levels. At least two support levels. Yeah, the NVIDIA is in crazy volume. Yeah. Again, that's a fairly significant news event on NVIDIA. Volume came in really strong on the 5-minute chart. Huge volume. 12.9 million shares in a 5-minute candlestick. NVIDIA PCS, 171.65, October 10th for 95 cents to $1. NVIDIA. Yeah, you want to be careful here. 170.165. Yeah, I guess that's okay if you can get a 170, but you're going out to the 10th of October. The stock price action has just been horrible lately, but 170 is pretty good for a support level. You can try that. I don't think that's bad if you can get $1 for it. Terry, successfully getting out at the first sign of weakness would make a great training video. Yeah, but like at TSM, I get out here when I hit my sell order that I had, treating it as an intraday trade. But I missed some profits on it because of that. NVIDIA, same thing. If I go to the 1-minute chart on this thing, let me take a look at it here. If I go over here and look at NVIDIA, if I switch to a 1-minute chart. See, there was some weakness right here. This is where I get out, right here. But then look what happened. It just ripped again. But again, I'm in an intraday trade. I'm not looking to take, just let the thing ride. I want to take profits, take it off, take the money. I really got good money on that one, so. Ram, come on, would I place any value on a $5 pop in VST if it holds at least half the candle? Well, I don't know. I mean, you're looking at a 5-minute chart here in VST, right? Now, if we switch over to the daily chart, right here, this got to get above this 212.88 thing. It's got through it, and then it just hasn't been able to get through it. The price action on this thing, we traded this when it popped the other day, and this is what it did to us. Hooked up through it, looked good, it came right back. This is starting to look fairly similar to that. I'm not touching this thing, to tell you the truth. I've been burned on it here just last week. I'm not going to touch it right now until I see some better price action. Consistent price action. There's a SPY, new all-time high. Terry took 20 cents out of the SPY super system. Very good job. You're right here. If this is where you did it, it was perfect. Perfect entry on it right there. Perfect entry on it. Nice job. I can't call them all out, of course, because I'm watching 15 different things here and answering questions. I'm going to take a look at some additional intraday trades here right now. The market's getting, it's getting kind of frothy here. Q's also at an all-time high right now. UNH up about $5. PGY a little weak today. It's pulled back right to the 8 exponential moving average. I sold a bunch of my calls on this last week, as I called them out as we moved through them. I got out at 820, and then I got out at 880, and holding these $17 calls. I'm sorry, these $37 calls for October 17th. So we get some time on it. It's just pulling back to the 8. I like to see it bounce off the 8 today. If it bounces off the 8 today, I might buy some more of these calls further out in time. All right, it's about 12:21. Amazon. I guess AI is coming to town. Apple's not much up year to date. Yeah, but it's had a nice run. No, it was a terrible trade earlier in the year. It's been really, really weak. This is the first real move that is a decent move that it's seen. It had a good one back in August, and now it's moving again, but it's extended right now. Amazon, you got a 185, 190, 195 butterfly. Opened weeks ago. 926 on NVIDIA. You have a 100, 175 call spread. 100, 175. All right, well, that's looking pretty good. NVIDIA is still going up. This is where you have to watch out for FOMO here. It's, I jumped in what I thought was fairly extended and made some nice money on it, but I'm not going to chase it up here. And the option premiums make it impossible to do a straddle or a strangle on it. Now they are jacked up pretty high, so doing a credit spread is not a bad idea. It was just mentioned just a few minutes ago. Getting the right strikes is going to be tough, and it depends. You went out a ways in that. I'd be looking again. 170 is probably a good strike on it for a short. Somehow I had an NVIDIA call left over. I don't know how. I think when I thought I sold one time, I bought some, so I kind of messed up the trade, but it worked out in my favor. I was trying to sell at 885, and for some reason I bought some more at 805 at the time. Then I sold them at 905, but I still had one left over. I don't know how I did this. Anyway, I just sold them all at 10. I just sold my last one at 1085. So that was like $300 a contract on that last one. That was a fluke, though, not something I tried to do. It is NVIDIA. And to do a credit spread in this, I would wait for it to see if you can get a pullback in it to get some more premium on the credit spread. Again, I'm out of an NVIDIA trade now that I think I must have messed up. If I was day trading SPY, which strike and date of option would you use? Well, if I was trading SPY right now, I'd be using today's expiration, and I'd be using at the money. So on the SPY, if we look at the SPY right now, if I was trading SPY long, I wouldn't do it here, but basically you'd try to take like an at the money. So if I was taking a long here, I'd probably take a 665, but I wouldn't be. I'd be taking it down here. So when it was trading down here, is around 684, 664 would be the likely strike. 664. You could even use the 665 when it's this close to that strike price, but basically at the money, slightly in or slightly out of the money. Approximately at the money with today's expiration until about 1:30. Then you got to switch to tomorrow's expiration. Hey Frank, you know its relative weakness for the day. The thoughts on GLXY, $30 call for next week. GLXY. Galaxy Digital. Yeah, low volume today too. Yeah, it's kind of setting up like a PBO. What you want is you want this PBO to confirm. In other words, you want this thing to close above the 8 today. Closes above the 8 today. That's probably a pretty good trade right there on this pullback, because it got extended. You see, it got extended, and now it's back to the 8. So I like that setup, but you want to make sure it confirms above the 8. You can take it now as an anticipation trade, assuming it's going to stay above the 8. But again, if it doesn't, you got to get out. You took the 663s at the SPY Super Sister signal. 663s. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, they're in the money, deep in the money. That's not deep in the money, but in the money. There's nothing wrong with that, Terry. I mean, your ROI is slightly lower because you had to pay more, but you're also not going to, if the stock moves sideways, the premium's not going to drop as quickly. All right, so anyway, so far today I traded Tesla real quick this morning, then I traded TSM, which I called out. I told you I took that NVIDIA trade, and I messed it up, but made more money than I should have because when I thought I was selling, I was actually buying, and I got some more at a lower price, and then I took them off. But I thought I sold fewer contracts than I actually owned, and I just looked at my portfolio, and I still had some more contracts in NVIDIA in there. Then I got in at 785, but they were still there, and I sold them at 1085. So it was a nice profit, but part of it was not due to me. It was part of a mistake. I was, clicking stuff really quickly getting in and out of the thing. Halo's pulled back right to just about to break even now. Pulled back today a little bit. This thing does that. Moves up, pulls down, moves up, pulls down, but it's still a really nice setup on Halo. Amazon nice on that butterfly and that call spread. That's a pretty wide call spread, 100, 175. But again, the news worked out, and NVIDIA was not a good setup for a call spread a while back because it was trading crappy. But today it's getting a huge boost here off of news. Broadcom coming down here with NVIDIA going up. Broadcom with a decent drop here today. It's still a good setup. Here's the 5-minute chart on the VGO. See that with NVIDIA went up, it came down. But if you look at the daily chart on NVIDIA on a VGO, this is a nice PBO if it holds this 15, gets back above the 8. I think this is probably just an overreaction to the NVIDIA move.
I see a little vibe down TikTok that Walmart is adding home delivery of chilled pharma drugs such as Ozempic.
Don't call it a mistake what I did, Ram Kumar. It's a good karma helping us. Hey, retract this, please. I didn't even know that I had any contracts left on it, honestly, till I just happened to pop up my portfolio to check on what I still had open, and there it was. And I said, whoa, where'd that come from? And, fortunately I was lucky because it had kept moving up. Could have worked the other way. NVIDIA 55%, Joe. Very nice trade. Beautiful trade, NVIDIA. Really nice. Just screaming up here now. Again, as I said, that news was significant, which was the only reason I actually did what I considered a chase when I get into this thing. I took next week's because I could have held it if I had to, if it pulled back on me. All right, I'm going to get ready to lunch here in a minute. Also look for some additional trades to take for intraday. maybe a couple of swings if we can find a swing to take. The market's at an all-time high. It's really difficult to jump into a lot of swings way up here, because every time it's been put in a new all-time high, typically it ends up pulling back for a short period of time. $30% on Teva, Joe. Nice job. Joe again is filling his money bags this morning. Yeah, beautiful move up in Teva. Doug, you appreciate my patience about not taking a swing trade. It's really tough. It's very, very tough to find ones. I mean, I love UNH. I'm fine with UNH as a swing right here. I like that one, and I like Halo as a swing. I think chart-wise they're technically they're very, very good. And Halo especially because it doesn't really react to the market that much. It's kind of trades on its own as a biotech. UNH is being supported by Buffett. That's a pretty helpful catalyst to have in the trade. But a lot of the other ones, it's going to be really difficult. VSAT's up pretty nicely today, up over 2% now. So we'll see what they do here the next. GNRC is also up right up to the 8 right now. So we'll see what happens with these. But I don't want to get into too many new swing trades right now on this market. Again, PGY, I took some pretty good profits in PGY, and it's pulled back today right to the 8. It looks like it's trying to set up a PBO again. Shy, Meta, gap up and it's selling off again. And it's been doing that lately. Makes a nice move and then it ends up closing, halfway down the candle or further. It's had a couple of days where it closed near the high, but generally speaking, that's not the case. It's been tough to trade. I wouldn't be trading it right now. Amazon has pulled back right to the 50. Google still much stronger than Amazon, but still a little weak today. Again, Apple a big leader here, up 3.5%, but Nvidia still moving higher, up 3.7% off that news. Okay, I'm going to grab some lunch. Let me go ahead and close down the YouTube feed. Amazon, okay, the 190 calls are going against me now. Nvidia is heading to nosebleed territory. You think? Yes, they are. Yes, it is. Yeah, on a butterfly like that, yeah, it's getting really extended from the butterfly. Sure. I don't know how much Nvidia. There's going to be some profit taking in here at some point, but that was a fairly significant news event on Nvidia. Okay, I'm going to close down the YouTube feed. Thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate it. Amazon, you're welcome. Thanks for being in the YouTube. I appreciate it. Appreciate your call outs on your stocks and the questions. I appreciate that. All right, everybody. Thanks very much. Again, rightlinetrading.com. You'll find me in there for my room, the SPY Super System options room and alert service, as well as the SPY Super System software, which you can buy. Which for anybody who wants to trade high probability trade setups, identifying when institutions are in the trade, this is what you need. And it runs right on Thinkorswim. They'll put it on there for you. You could download Thinkorswim for free. They'll put it on here for you when you buy it. You'll have all my indicators. You'll have my scans and any changes we make to it as time goes by. Any improvements, I guess I would say, since it's pretty. It's done. Made some changes to the thing, but it's really pretty much the way it was when Compass. Except I've taken a few things off which I thought were unnecessary. Added this, the actual momentum indicator itself, the LRSI or the Laguerre, basically, and without the divergence in there. Current time frame momentum, multi-time frame momentum, trend. These things together on a daily chart tell you what the institutions are doing. On a 5-minute chart, this tells you the institutions right here. See, they were selling the SPY here, and then they come in and bought it. That's a SPY super system set up for a long right there. As it breaks above the 15 EMA and breaks out with a pop out of the box symbol especially, that gives you an extra incentive, and it moved right up beautifully. Perfect SPY super system trade. All right, we're going to close down YouTube, and we'll be back again tomorrow at 11:30. So thank you, everybody from YouTube. I appreciate you being here today, and look forward to seeing some folks in the room. All right, have a good week. Have a good